rock that.
I originally wanted to get this video out yesterday, but because my family was watching, football because it was Sunday, and my family loves the Texans, and the Texans were playing yesterday, I just couldn't do that, and I didn't get to record when I wanted to, and I just had a really bad day yesterday. I wasn't in the best of moods, so the commentary for my review of the newest Boruto episode probably wouldn't have been too good, to be honest. And I kind of want to get another video out as soon as possible after I'm done recording for this video. I don't know when it'll be out. I always say this, but I kind of mean it this time. I kind of want to talk about something really quick. And just a video not very long, just whatever. And if you hear any background noise, it's currently raining and it's early in the morning, so yeah, for what it's worth, just try to deal with that if you can. I apologize for any inconveniences in the episode review, but other than that, I watched the episode yesterday, and I already said this in my previous review last week that I wasn't very thrilled with the whole temporal transfer thing that they were talking about, and temporal transfer being time travel. I wasn't very thrilled by it because, time travel, uncanny valley, there's only a certain point where you can kind of get to that point of uncanny valley where you can kind of accept that. And I couldn't really accept that last week just because, I don't know, I didn't really think that it was a good idea because, time travel in Dragon Ball, in my opinion, has a certain uncanny valley than what time travel in the Naruto universe has. I just thought it made more sense in Dragon Ball than it did in Naruto, but there's not really much I can do about it now because time travel is in Naruto now, and I just kind of have to live with it. I have to just accept that it's a thing, and temporal transfer is just a thing that's going to be a thing, and I don't know how often it's going to be used. Probably not too often, and they're probably only using time travel to service this particular arc in general, but I just thought it was very weird. I just didn't really like it all that much. I didn't like the idea of it all that much being in Naruto. But now that it's here, now that we have this episode, I have to say that I actually kind of liked it. I actually kind of really liked it. And granted, it's kind of all serviced because of the fact that we get to see Naruto back when he was a kid, and Naruto as a kid was always just a fun character to watch. They made the episode really feel like a Naruto Part 1 episode, including using old tracks from Naruto Part 1. The episode just was a lot of fun to watch because it just reminded me of how much I loved watching Naruto for the first time, and I really enjoyed it because of that. And we get to see characters like Jiraiya back alive again, and Jiraiya is always fun to watch and just to see his misfits, because the first time that you see him in the episode, he gets caught with Naruto trying to peep at naked women in a hot springs. So I mean, come on, man. I love seeing these characters, and it reminds me how much I loved these characters the first time I watched, Naruto Part 1 and then eventually Naruto Shippuden, and that's pretty much just all the episode kind of did for me. It reminded me of how much I loved the Naruto series, and it reminded me especially of how much potential that the Boruto series, the Boruto anime has, and how well that it could possibly do. It just has to get to that point where it's consistent, and I hope that it gets to the consistency again, but who knows when that'll ever really happen. But for what it's worth, the episode was fun. It was perfectly serviceable. It reminded me of a classic Naruto episode back from Part 1, and it was interesting to see Boruto interact with his dad as a kid, because at that point, obviously Naruto was a kid. He has never met his parents. He has no idea who his parents are. At this current point in the timeline of the temporal transfer, it's around the time of when Tsunade had first became the 5th Hokage, and that's just kind of like the time period that they're at. So Boruto also doesn't even get to see how, shitty the village actually treated him back in the day, because we already know, as a viewer of who watched, the Naruto series from beginning to end and all the way up until this point, that Naruto was treated like like a terrible person. He didn't have any friends. People always, shunned him because they thought he was the nine-tailed fox. He didn't have any friends. He didn't have any family. No one wanted him around. And that didn't change until finally Iruka Sensei finally acknowledged him and gave him, the headband that started him off onto his journey. And, Boruto doesn't get to see that, but he gets to see his time as a child. And it gives him enough of a picture to realize that Naruto had enough of humble beginnings that drove him towards the life that he has now. And it's kind of funny because also by the end of the episode, Boruto starts talking about his dad and how he's always not around, and etc., etc. And of course, we already know that that's Naruto, but Naruto as a kid doesn't know that he's talking about himself. Did you hear that thunder? Of course, Naruto doesn't know that Boruto's talking about him in the future. So even Naruto is acknowledging that, he's kind of a useless person, or etc., etc., because Boruto keeps on saying that. But then he starts to ask him, do you hate your dad? And Boruto then acknowledges that no, he doesn't hate him. Like, even though Naruto's never really around at home too often, he knows that, Naruto isn't useless. He just calls him that because he's never around his family when he needs to be. And, he doesn't hate him. That's his father. Of course, he still loves him. So that's just kind of the fact of the matter of how Boruto sees his dad. And now we get to see Boruto, acknowledge the fact that Naruto didn't really have a good life. And he had to survive the best of what he had, including always eating, miso and salt ramen all the time. And that's why Ichiraku is pretty much his favorite place to eat in the world. And it was also kind of nice to see, like, Sasuke, because of course Sasuke's here as well from the future. He's like trying not to interact with characters like Sakura because of course like the turtle that they use the time travel says if you cause any anomalies, stuff can change in the future. So Sasuke is trying not to interact with people he knew because at that point he also had left the village, because they also established that in the episode. He had already left the village at that point. And it was also kind of just funny to see Boruto see the Hidden Leaf village of the past and realize that certain things don't exist like the way that they are now. Like Ichiraku's a much smaller ramen shop than it is currently in its timeline. That was really funny, and that's kind of the entirety of the episode. And it was a lot of really funny moments, a lot of reminding me of how much I really liked Naruto, and that's kind of it. There's not really much else to really say about the episode other than I don't know, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun episode. It was a good episode, and I'm kind of excited for what they're gonna do sooner or later, especially with the previews, with having Neji back, because we haven't seen Neji in like forever. So yeah, that's kind of the episode, and I'm gonna go ahead and just wrap up the video because there's not really much I need to talk about. If you did enjoy for whatever reason, be sure to leave a like. If you aren't subscribed for more videos just like this, I fucking had a hiccup. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm out. Peace.